Hi, welcome to Memory Chips Podcast. I am Ann Wyszynski, and I have a collection of potato chip bags from around the world. And every so often, I go through this collection, and a certain bag or bags will bring up memories of people, places, ideas, and I really want to share these with you. So if you please subscribe, you will never miss a bag. I'm here today with my husband, Árni Gudmundsson, on the occasion of our 11th wedding anniversary.
Okay.
Did you forget?
No.
Okay. I have some bags. I'm going to go through them, and I'm going to ask you... Oh, first I'm going to go through the bags that I picked out for today. Okay, so I have sour cream and sweet chili chips, chili and Bernaise sauce, jalapeno and ranch, grilled cheddar chilies, cheese and chili, hot sweet chili, I think we already had a different brand, double cheese and chili,
Okay.
mild chili, and pickled, what's grädde? No, it's sirad grädde.
It's like sour cream.
Oh, sour cream. Mild chili and sour cream. Piri and roasted garlic. Garlic, chive and chili. Jalapeno and ranch. I think if we had that already. Wafflecut, cheddar and chipotle. Jalapeno yogurt. And hot sweet chili again. So, do you see any commonalities with the flavors that I chose?
Hot.
Hot.
It's hot.
Like our love.
Oh. I sign up for that.
And these are all from Sweden. But you notice that they're all Swedish chips flavors, and most of them, if not all of them, have some sort of chili or a spice in them, but they all have dairy as well. So I think that kind of typifies Sweden. It's like they want to be hot, but...
Not too hot.
Yeah, not too hot.
No.
Has to be a little
not.
bit mild. How long did you live in Sweden?
Like 25 years almost, I think.
Yeah, so 25 years. So you know about this Swedish propensity for things being mild and hot. But
Lagom, they say. They're very proud of their Lagom rules.
Yeah. Can you explain Lagom?
Average, I would say. Just to be average. Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay. So that's what they kind of pride themselves on that. But so you showed up in Sweden, and you were how old?
I was like 20-something, 23 or...
Early 20s.
22 maybe.
Yeah. And you had been living in Amsterdam, and then you showed up there because you were going to go to art school. And so speaking of fire and hot, why don't you tell me what happened when you arrived in Sweden to go to school?
After 1 year there, I had an accident in the art school, and that I started by accident a fire with a grinder, and it was after the summer holidays. I had no money, and one of the best galleries of Sweden, the gallerist came to my studio, and he wanted like 5-7 big artworks I made in that I would bring into his gallery. and he was going to sell them all, and then I thought I was going to be a rich art student, and really, I was really excited, and ambitious as well, ambitious and excited, and so I finished a couple of them. I had a very small studio and very, very big work.
And the studio was inside the art school.
Yeah, it was. The art school, the sculpture department was on a different island called Skeppsholmen, an old military island.
In Stockholm.
In Stockholm, yes. In the center of Stockholm. I had one big, huge piece that was like 10 feet by 6 feet, and I had to mount a piece of metal that was sticking out of the frame, and I had to grind a little piece of metal, just like 2 millimeters of the metal I had to grind away, and I could not get to the socket in my studio, so I dragged the piece out and I dragged it into the storage room. I cleaned it up, and I was kind of half aware but too excited for my career and money and everything. And then I saw this jacket there. I cleaned up a little bit, and then I thought, well, and I made it so that the sparks would not put any fire to anything. And I start grinding, and the first spark I touched the metal, and there's one spark that goes over the barrier I made for the sparks, and it was quite a big one. I stopped immediately. I think I grinded for like 1 or 2 seconds at the most. And I looked around and nothing was on fire, and then I realized this is really stupid. And dumb idea. So I stopped, and then I looked over the barrier I made, and then there was this oil painting laying there, and kind of in the middle of the oil painting there was a little flame coming out of the oil painting, like, it's like 10 centimeter flame. And I go like, shit, oh, fire, and I yell, fire, fire. Another guy comes out of the studio, and we run to the kitchen. We fill up buckets of water, and Peter Johansson, he's a famous artist now in Sweden, and we throw the buckets on the fire. I mean, and then it is really smoke starts coming, and it was still all on the oil painting. Then I see this fire extinguisher, and it's a big one, and I rip it off the wall, and you have to ram it, and then you have to hit it on the ground, the knob, and then I thought lots of stuff would come out, and then it is just like, it's like you're peeing. I could pee, at that time I could pee further than the spray was spraying. And
Did you say at the time I could pee?
Yes.
Does that mean you're old and you can't pee?
I'm a little older now. My beam is not that.
500 kidney stones later.
Yeah, and then and then all this black smoke came out, and then my friend wanted to keep on putting out the fire, but I kind of wrestled him out. We had to crawl on the floor and get out of the building because the smoke was really thick black smoke, really bad. And we came out, and then this was all like maybe 10 minutes or something like that, and then I shouted fire outside, and another told somebody to phone. I saw another friend, and told her to phone the fire brigade. She phoned the fire brigade.
This was pre-cell phones, right?
Yeah, no cell phones. And then and I was standing outside. I had everything I owned was in my studio, and I was standing outside, and then the flames were coming through the roof, and I sat down, and I was like, holy shit. And it went so fast.
How much time do you think how much time passed between the spark hitting the painting and you going outside and seeing flames from the roof?
It was 10 minutes.
Oh.
It was like if that whole room was filled with gas. It just it went so fast. It was incredible. Mm-hmm. And then as that it's on an island. The Skeppsholmen is an island, mm-hmm. and they have to. All the fire trucks, and ambulances, and police came. And it was like a queue because they got the alarm that the Modern Museum of Sweden was on fire.
Is it next to the Modern Museum?
It's very close.
Moderna Museet.
Moderna Museet. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think about 50 fire trucks came, and it was a whole queue, and they were all with their sirens, and I was a little higher up so I could see them, and then I got and the flames were getting bigger and bigger, and I was I got a little nauseous.
Yeah.
And scared, and I don't know what. And then the police car was there, and I went behind a big tree and I did hide. And I looked up, and the fire just became bigger and bigger and bigger, and I looked up again, and then I was I just wanted to disappear. And then I was sitting there, and then all the fire trucks came, and I started spraying and doing stuff and containing the fire. They were actually not anymore. In a very quick way, they just were securing the surroundings that the fire would not spread. I heard later, and because they already thought that the building was there was no way of rescuing the building. It was too far gone.
And there was nobody in there.
There was nobody in there. And so I was sitting behind the tree, and then I was talking to myself, and then in the end I said, well, Arni, come on, I was really sick. I was almost shitting my pants. And then I said, well, come on, Arni, you have to take responsibility for this. And I walked up to the first police guy I saw, and I said, hello. And he said, hello. And then I said, do you speak English? And he said, yes. I said, and then I said, I'm the one responsible for this fire. In no time, he had turned me around, put me on the ground, arms behind me, and I was handcuffed and thrown into a police car. But then I got really extremely sick in my stomach, but I didn't really realize what was going on. I mean, I just was so out of it that he was trying to get me into the police car, and I was struggling against him because I had to puke. And then he was just pushing and shoving me into the car, and I was trying to get out. I didn't want to puke in his car.
Why?
Then I said, what the hell is wrong with you, idiot? I have to puke. I have to put the puke in your car. And then he dragged me out and I puked. And then I stood up and then I felt a little better. And then I sat in the car. And then they were going to drive me to the police station. And I thought, they started driving. And I had my ex-wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, and they were so nice. I said I had an appointment with her. We were going to go out. I think it was a Friday or something like that, or a Saturday. And we were going to go out, and I said, well, I cannot reach my girlfriend, and I have to tell her that that I have to go to the police station. And then they said, okay, so I could talk to her. Luckily enough, I could talk to her and tell her that I was in an accident in handcuffs. Everything is okay. I just have to go to the police station and give a statement. And then they drove me to the most notorious police station of Sweden.
Notorious how?
Of violence against people they arrest.
Oh.
I didn't know because I was a foreigner. And so then they took me into the building and I had to go in all kinds of elevators and then they pushed me in somewhere. And then what I didn't understand was that they were going to throw me in jail. And so they took the handcuffs off, pushed me in, and then there was this very, how do you call it, little guy, horrible little guy, with a huge big bodybuilder next to him. And he said, take off your clothes. And I went like, I thought I was going for an interrogation, and I said, why? Why should I take off my clothes? He said, take off your clothes. Or no, empty your pockets. That was the first thing.
But had they arrested you?
Yeah.
But you didn't know that?
No.
So so in Sweden, what is their formality for arresting you?
I have no ID.
Oh.
It's the first time I got arrested in Sweden, so that I had no ID. They just handcuffed me. There's no rights. But the thing is, the only thing I know is that if you travel in a police car, they have to handcuff you.
Okay.
That is, they cannot have you handcuffed. So, and then empty your pockets, and then I thought, oh, geez, they know that I'm from Amsterdam, and they think I have drugs on me, because that was a big hot issue in Sweden. I had lots of troubles with that because there is Amsterdam in my stands in my passport, and I said it's my place of birth. And then I emptied my pocket and then I threw it on the counter, and then he said, take off your shoes. And then I started, this is a little wrong. And I said, well, I think there is a little bit of a misunderstanding here. And he said, take off your shoes. And started yelling at me. I said, I think I need to speak to somebody else. I need to speak to your boss.
Let me speak to your manager.
Yes. And then he said, and then he started shouting even louder, and then I took off my shoes. And I said, I have to speak to somebody else than you. I mean, I need to speak to somebody else, your boss or somebody else. And then they jumped over the little counter they were behind, and they hit me. The big guy hit me, and I started like, ooh. I got like, holy shit. And but I was in shock, so I didn't really know what, everything was very abstract or like, it was like a movie. And
it was like it was happening to somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. But then all of a sudden I was wrestling two guys and then some kind of...
Were you still handcuffed?
No, I was not handcuffed, but I was not doing anything. But they were wrestling with each other. They were
wrestling with each other?
Yes, because I was totally like loose. I was so loose in my body. I was like paralyzed. And they ripped off my clothes. Then more people came and they ripped off my jeans. I mean, really, they didn't unbutton it. They just ripped it off. They were standing on me and pulling my clothes off.
Jesus.
And I was just like, then I got super scared and I thought I had to get out of here. And then there were like, and I counted the people, there were 7 people busy with me and ripping off my clothes. And then
You sure this isn't some like fantasy? Some porn fantasy?
No.
You have a cop, gay cop fantasy?
It gets there. Don't worry.
Okay, anyway.
Then they were not cops, they were the guards.
Oh, okay.
So and then I just stood up. I just rose and I wanted to run, but I didn't find an exit. And then I saw I looked into a room and there I had all their beating sticks or and I went like, holy shit, I can never win. And I didn't know how I got into that building. And
are they armed?
They have sticks.
Clubs. Billy clubs.
Yeah.
But they don't have guns.
They have no guns. They have clubs.
Okay.
And then I thought, I better lay down. And then I was laying down and then they had pulled off my t-shirt and then they had pulled off my pants and then somebody was standing on my arm. I was like laying like a starfish on my belly. And then I was thinking, and this was very strange. It's very strange how much time you have in how time can expand in very stressful situations. Because I was thinking very logical, and I had no idea what the rest was happening with me, but I was kind of calculating my options I had. But then I was laying on my belly and then they pulled my underpants down, so my butt was naked, and I was like, holy shit. And then all of a sudden I heard myself and I was yelling, I did nothing wrong, help, I did nothing. And I went like, holy shit, Arni, you are scared. That was rationality talking. Mm-hmm. You're really scared. And shit, they're going to rape me. Because I heard them say, I understood a little Swedish. And then these guys, they were saying, you first, do first. And I said, first? And then I went like, oh man, one guy had left, so there were 6 guys. And I said, I'm going to get raped by 6 guys? Shit. And nothing. I mean, what the hell should I do? And I cannot fight them. Maybe I should just try to enjoy it. I know that was my solution. I was totally paralyzed and still screaming. And then I started kind of laughing inside my head about the craziness and about my fear. And then they opened a cell. And the cells are really very weirdly constructed in that place. Because you open the door and like 3 feet in, there is a wall, a diagonal wall that goes into the cell. You have to go through a corridor, and behind that wall is your bed. And what they do is 2 guys hold you up in front of the door, and the 3rd one pushes you in as hard as he can, and to smack you into the wall.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
That ball was full of blood.
Ugh.
It was really gross. And but as that I was so limp, I just went like a rubber band. I just took one step in. The guy pushed me really hard, but I was just like my back bended backwards and absorbed his whole push, so I never hit the wall. And then they closed the door, and then I was looking at that wall, and it was like blood, and then I was sitting there, pulled up my underpants and said, well, I'm at least not raped. And then I sat there for a while, and then I didn't know what to do until, luckily enough, a professor, he figured out where Heinz Muller, he was
a professor at the
art school. He was a professor
school.
at the art school. He picked up my girlfriend.
Was he Swedish?
No, he was not Swedish. He was Austrian.
Okay.
He drove to the police station, and he started asking questions about me. And I said, I'll come back after the weekend. We will take care of it then. So they thought they were going to keep me in there for the whole weekend. But this I didn't know. But then, and they had registered me as British.
Why?
I don't know. I had explained to the police guy everything. And then but they had registered me as British, and they could not find me in the register. And then they said...
Did you have your passport, your Icelandic passport?
I didn't have it on me.
Oh.
But it was at my girlfriend's, and or my ex. And then they went and fetched my passport, and they got me out at like 10 o'clock in the evening. And I had to give a statement. And they threw, to an officer. And I was really upset by then. And then my girlfriend was allowed, or my ex was allowed to be an interpreter. And they threw in my clothes in the cell, and they said, you're going to get interrogated now. And I put on my clothes, and there was no way I could just, they were just hanging around me. My pants were dropping off. There were no buttons anymore on my pants. There were no buttons. My shirt was ripped. And then, but I was full of adrenaline, and then the anger came. So when I walked into the interrogation room, I said to her, and how do you want to have me? Do you want to have me with my clothes on or totally naked? And I just dropped my pants. You
said that to who?
To the police interrogator.
You sound crazy.
Yeah, I was crazy. I was totally nuts. All my stuff was gone. Everything was, I could collect myself when I had my clothes back on, and when I had the feeling that I was like a human being again, I kind of got super angry. And then I gave my statement, and then I was released.
And then you never did anything about it then? In the end, like you didn't, I mean...
Well, I was over the news in whole Scandinavia. The 8 o'clock news, the 9 o'clock news. I was in all the newspapers. And
yeah, but I'm saying, but there was no recourse that you could do about being abused by the police.
It got... I just wanted to walk away. I wanted to disappear.
And that's what they count on, is that they won't, that people
well,
won't follow up.
It became a lawsuit, something. People were involved in it, and newspapers wanted to interview me, and I said, no, hell no, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to move on. But there came a kind of a lawsuit, and in the end they were... because the ambassador, the Icelandic ambassador, got involved. It was really a big thing, but I didn't want to have anything to do with it because I was also a little scared.
Yeah, but then you stayed in Sweden for another 20 plus years.
No, I left I finished the school there, and that was this was the beginning of my last year there. So I finished that.
So skip ahead 2 or 3 decades, and you're living in Sweden again, and you have 3 kids, and we're together.
Yeah.
And then we move to the U.S., and then we try to go back and forth between Sweden and the U.S., and nobody really wants us to do that. That was really difficult. And then the pandemic happens.
Yes.
And then we get evicted from the apartment in Stockholm.
Yep. Stockholm is done with me. I don't really fit into the Stockholm kind of way of life.
Apparently.
No. No, the funny thing is, the first time I was in Stockholm, I met the king and the queen, because my father was getting some, how to call it?
Award?
No, a medallion.
A medal.
A medal.
A medal of valor.
Yeah. That's a nice thing. It's a big gold thing.
Yeah.
And so I was in Stockholm drinking champagne with the king and the queen. That was my first time. And then I get kind of kicked out of Sweden by a lawyer for my landlord. Totally.
Yeah. It just seems like that. It didn't start off on a. It seemed like it started off on a good foot, but there were lots of.
Lots of good things happened in Stockholm. So it's not that, but the kind of how would you call it? The society functioning in Stockholm is quite weird, and it's
doesn't work anymore.
Not for me. No, I'm not. You have to follow the path, and if you fall a little bit outside of the path, or if you're in the periphery of the path, there is nothing for you. So
that brings us back around to Lagom. You have to
follow the.
You have to follow the middle path.
Follow the unwritten rules, and not be too spicy, not be too. They say hot. Yeah. That doesn't mean shit in Sweden.
Don't. Yeah, because as evidenced by these potato chip bags. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thanks for your story, and another You're hot. It's my hot husband, hot-headed husband. I know there's more fires. Hopefully not literally in the future.
No, but I had more fires after.
No, honey, I'm trying to end the fucking thing.
Okay.
Can we just? I just try to wrap it up, and you're trying to bring.
Okay. Let's get spicy.
Another spicy installment, another spicy anniversary.
Oh yeah.
Installment. Last year we had our 10th wedding anniversary. We talked about the night we met, which was also violent and bloody. Yep. And
things happen.
Then we have our 11th wedding anniversary, where we talk about another. And the only thing in common about these is you.
Oh, it's me that is the magnet.
Well, you're hot. You're hot, but without the yogurt, without the bread fill, without the sour cream.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Happy anniversary, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do I say? I don't know.
You say happy anniversary, honey. I love you, dear.
I love you.
Okay. thanks for listening. And if you have any questions or comments about what you heard today, please post them to the review section of your podcast player. So if you use Apple Podcasts, you click on the show thumbnail and scroll down to leave a review. And then whatever happens after that is up to you. But hopefully it's nice. You can also leave posts on Instagram at @MemoryChipsPodcast.